Nandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatītam Gaganashudasham Tattvamasyārilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshibhutam Bhavatītam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Nityanandam. Hi, this is Ma Nitya Ovyananda. Today I'd like to share with you my first experience at a Hindu temple. The very first Hindu temple I ever went to was in Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, USA. Nityanandeshwara Sadashivatva Temple in Columbus, Ohio. It was an amazing time, February 2011. Just a month before that, I started to watch Swamiji on YouTube regularly, and also the live satsangs. Then, at the time, my friend asked if I'd like to go to a class there. Her and her husband were going that weekend. And she's asked me many times before, but she patiently asked me another time, maybe the 100th time. And without hesitation, I said yes. And so we were on our way and went. So we got to the temple, and I remember the first time, walking in, and first thing that hit you, there's the deities, Nityanandeshwara, beautiful black granite deities, sitting there so gracefully and beautiful, and they were just shining, their faces. There's something about their face that was glowing in a way, to me, I felt. And that smell of the temple, the incense, the flowers, the camphor, like that mixture of smells that's just unique. And it has, it awakes something in you, at least how I felt that way. That smell, sometimes smells can bring us to another place or time or something comes up. And I just remember it was a beautiful place. And of course, the land where the temple is also amazing. So anyway, I just felt kind of an energy as soon as I walked in, a calmness, a connection, an aliveness. I could feel something. Definitely since then, my feeling of energy has changed and shifted and become more sensitive. But at that time, I knew something was special about the place, and it was beautiful. And I really liked it, and the rituals they were doing, the puja, the arati and all. I just was like, wow, this is nice. And that's all, Then the class was in a different area. But each time I would go to the temple and I'd feel like wanting to just sit there, I wasn't sure why. But I enjoyed just sitting in there. So that was my first time there. Then we would go every weekend, many weekends. We would go for the next, 7-8 months until November when I went to Inner Awakening, and I actually went to India for the first time. So, more and more we'd go and connect there, with the deities. We'd help out a little bit in the temple, doing some seva and all. And it was just very nice experience there. Then when I arrived in India, I traveled, 24 hours, 30 hours, something like that to get to India. So I got there in the morning, and I speak about my experience of first laying eyes on Swamiji during the puja in the morning, walking into the hall and seeing Swamiji and all his glory there. But after that experience in the day, I kind of started to have a little nosedive. I started to get kind of tired. First time, being away, and I was feeling a little out of sorts. That's all I really remember, is just feeling a little out of sorts, and kind of whatever was going on inside, a little bit of churning was starting to happen. In that energy field, it's a place of completion and healing. So things start to churn up. So by afternoon, evening, it was one of those times where we were invited to the temple. The people that arrived for the Inner Awakening program were invited to the temple. And now this is my first time in India and being at our temple, Swamiji's temple in India, Bengaluru Adinam. So getting into the temple, walking up to the Garbha Mandir and seeing, Sadashiva and Devi sitting there. Yeah, it was amazing because they're huge. They're beautiful Panchaloka, 5 metal deities, in gold and shining. And Shiva has a look on his face, like always smiling, and kind of like I'm smiling at you. I felt like he was welcoming, very welcoming, and very much, his eyes are very bright and alive. You can tell all this. He's beautiful. So I started to feel better, and I can kind of feel that energy. I was like, wait a minute. Because I can feel, like, all of a sudden hitting my forehead, almost like how you would feel the wind, except it's a different energy feeling. It's hard to explain. But I felt that, and I kind of had to stop for a moment. I'm like, hey, I never remember feeling this before. so like a new experience for me and feeling that energy and that connection. Then we were sitting down, after for a process, and all that sort of uneasiness and wondering, sometimes just all these weird things were coming up, like why did I come and I'm tired and what's going on, and it was just feeling sort of that up and down. But then when I was sitting there, I just started, that all melted away, and I was just feeling the energy of the deities, and then I was feeling my own kundalini energy raising and getting awakened. And then I just kept staring at Sadashiva, and I was like, wow, I fell in love with him. He was just something to see there, just the sight and the connection I felt, with him. And then Devi was sitting there, Swamiji's murti, and like the whole thing, And then of course the banyan tree, behind. It just was such an experience. You can understand, the importance of Hindu temples, because what they do to the being at a being level. I was never a Hindu before. I didn't know the context for most things. I didn't know anything really about the temple. I don't even think I knew about prana pratishtha at that time. I'd never seen it happen. I maybe heard, Swamiji energized the deities. Okay, what does that mean? I don't know. So I had no idea about any of these things. I didn't know about rituals. I didn't know even the proper respect. Whatever I kind of had intuitively, or maybe some common sense kind of things, is basically all I had to go on. And then there was an amazing time within that program where we got to go up into the Garbha Mandir, and we got to pour water, and we got to touch the feet of Sadashiva. It was so nice. Wow, such a presence being there. You feel the deity's presence. You feel the energy of the deity. That there's a living energy there. I'm telling you, it is so alive and powerful and beautiful, because you also kind of feel that reflection inside you with your own energy. Like I felt, I guess I can say there's I don't want to say separation, it's not the right word, but there's definitely a feeling of energy reaching me, and definitely an energy inside of me. Yet I feel those two are connected. I don't feel that they're different from each other. And I noticed, over now the years going to other temples, sometimes the energy feels a little different, right? Because it's Swamiji's energy is one thing. And then other temples, they have a little bit of different kind of energy. You can kind of sense a slight variation. Yet they're not necessarily separate from each other. They're just like a different manifestation, I guess. But it's true. Like recently we went to Arunachaleshwara temple in Trivandrum. Beautiful temple, amazing temple. And I remember, I think I ever visited the Devi there, the Devi deity there. Because the first time I went, we kind of ran through and we went into saw the Sadashiva and left. We didn't, and we saw some other things, but I don't remember ever going into any other place like that. So we got to see the full temple this time. And just even standing to wait for her darshan, I could feel her presence so strongly. Like my whole system was vibrating with her energy, and I felt like, smiling, and I felt like that very much bliss from Devi. Just getting closer to closer into her presence. I mean, I never met her before there, and it was new for me to be in that place, but it was so powerful. It's such a feeling like I wanted to stay there all day, and just enjoy that. And even people would want to talk to me or something, but I couldn't even get into conversation with anybody, because I was just having that connection with Devi and that feeling of her energy and her presence. It's so amazing and beautiful. And then sometimes the mind is like, can this be? Did you feel an energy from some other thing, But now we know, as we're educated, we know about prana pratishtha. We know that the enlightened masters over the millenniums have been energizing the deities, have been putting that energy, however they channel the energy from the divine into the deities. So that energy is always there, vibrating. You can charge a battery with something, right? But eventually it'll run out. And Swamiji was talking about this recently. But if he goes and charges a battery, because there's a way that in the Vedic tradition they developed batteries back tens of thousands of years ago. So he's going to revive that tradition and do. But saying how if he does it, it'll remain energized always, continuously. And the same thing with the deities themselves. They're continuously vibrating that energy. They're putting that energy out there into the universe. And when you get near, you're getting into that space even closer, which becomes part of you. It becomes a connection with that energy. And it is something that, in a way, I don't know. I have to look into why I'd love to just sit there all day. It's just a very beautiful experience. And actually that is a glimpse, of what that oneness feeling is. It is a glimpse of it. And if we can continue more and more to bring that into our day and to bring that into our life, the more it'll elevate us and heal us of all these other things. Because that is the ultimate, to be in that space and be connected with the divine. That's why Swamiji is always giving us things, Rudrakshas. He's giving us spiritual alchemy products. He's giving us all those things to remain with us, so that when we remember, because we are carrying these things all the time. Like even when I hold my mala, I get a little bit of that experience, just like at the temple, or just like being in Swamiji's presence, or just, it's not as potent, okay, but it's there, and I feel it starting to stir inside me, and I feel it there. So that is our connection. That's why we have the deities, so that we can always go to a place and connect with the energy, with the divine. That's why it's very important. And that's why I urge you, all of you, whether you're Hindu or not, please go to a temple, just see how it is. And I am strongly opposed to anybody trying to destroy the temples, trying to take temples away from Hinduism. Any goofy laws passed saying that the caretakers, the people that are loving that temple, caring for that temple for millennium, for centuries, for down the generations, taking care of the temple and then taking it away from those people is completely wrong, and I'm against it. And I demand that people take notice and start doing something about it and bring the temple back to the community. The government can do what they want, but they can't go and rob the temples of their riches and of these beautiful deities, of their proper worship and their daily routine. They can't disrupt that, because it's very important for people to connect to that energy and to keep it alive and available to the people and to the communities. So please get in touch with these things. Go to your local temples and start to get involved. And stay tuned. I'll be talking about these things more and more as we go on. Thanks again today for watching Nityanam.